Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving right into a concept called the sovereignty of action, a mandate for self-reliance. Honestly, this is all about a massive, profound mindset shift. It's about flipping the script from just passively waiting around for life to happen to you, and instead actively taking absolute, unapologetic control over your future. So let's just get right to the core of it, shall we?
Nobody is coming to save you. Take a second and really let that sink in. I know, it's a bit of a gut punch when that reality finally hits. Psychologically speaking, we as human beings are incredibly prone to this thing called the rescuer fantasy. We basically wire ourselves to believe that if we just wait long enough, a sudden stroke of good luck, the perfect mentor, or some magical shift in our circumstances will just swoop in and pull us out of our rut. But the hard truth? No one is riding over the hill to hand you the life you want. It is entirely up to you.
And that brings us to the simple, totally unyielding truth. The life you want will only come when you decide to take responsibility. Think about whatever it is you're chasing right now. Maybe it's a specific level of fitness, a massive breakthrough in your career, or just getting the respect of your peers. Absolutely none of that materializes through wishing. It all hinges on making one pivot, moving away from expecting an external rescue and finally claiming internal ownership.
Because of this dynamic, we usually end up sorting ourselves into one of two camps. In the first camp, we can easily spend years, sometimes decades, trapped in this endless cycle of blaming our circumstances. And hey, it's comfortable, right? It's easy to point fingers at our upbringing, a rough past, a lack of money, or just plain old bad luck. Doing that completely absolves us of the responsibility to act. But while that's going on, someone else is taking a completely different path. Someone else is just quietly working, they're learning, they're improving, and they are putting in the silent, invisible sweat to build the exact future that everyone else is just dreaming about.
If we want to cross over into that second camp, we have to state a fundamental rule of the game right up front. Life is not fair, period. But you know what? Accepting that isn't being a pessimist. In fact, it is a massive competitive advantage. It's actually fascinating how much emotional bandwidth we completely waste agonizing over how things should be. The sooner you stop burning your energy fighting reality, the faster you can reallocate all that energy toward actually navigating it.
So, where exactly do you channel all that reclaimed energy? Well, you put it into the surprisingly short list of things you actually control. Look, you cannot control the economy, you can't control the weather, and you certainly can't control what other people think of your ambitions. But you have absolute, unopposed authority over exactly four things: your effort, the attitude you carry into a room, your daily discipline, and the mindset you cultivate. Mastering these few levers is literally what separates the people who build things from the people who just complain.
Now, this kind of mastery doesn't happen in some sweeping, cinematic montage. It happens in the daily battleground. Every single morning your alarm goes off, you are facing a binary choice. You either stay the same or you become a little bit better. And it is absolutely vital to realize that there is no such thing as standing still. Hitting snooze, endlessly scrolling on your phone, avoiding the hard work, that is an active choice to stay exactly the same, all while the rest of the world is just marching right past you.
Now, obviously, choosing to improve carries an immediate cost. Improvement feels difficult, but regret feels so much worse. We absolutely have to acknowledge the very real immediate friction of self-improvement. Working out is hard. Studying late is exhausting. Facing down your own insecurities is incredibly uncomfortable. But we have to weigh that temporary, immediate discomfort against the heavy, permanent pain of long-term regret. Discomfort is just a passing sensation. Regret is a ghost that will literally haunt you for the rest of your life.
Let's do a little mental time travel here for just a second. Think about today as a fork in the road, where you either act or you wait. If you choose to take action today, the compound effect of those small, tough choices can result in a completely different life just 12 months from now. Now project that out even further to 5 years in the future. Imagine looking back at today. Are you going to be immensely proud that you finally started, or are you going to be bitterly disappointed that you just kept waiting for a better time? And that right there, waiting for that magical better time, is one of the absolute most common psychological pitfalls. But here's the reality check. The clock does not care about your excuses. Time is entirely, coldly indifferent to human hesitation. Interestingly enough, behavioral scientists have actually found that our brains struggle to connect our present selves with our future selves, which makes it dangerously easy to just put things off. But the fact remains, every single day that passes is a day you will never, ever get back. The clock is ticking right now. This brings us to what might be the ultimate psychological trap of them all: the illusion of tomorrow. Tomorrow is a lie that has stolen dreams from millions of people.
We have to recognize this for exactly what it is, a comforting piece of fiction. Tomorrow always feels safer, right? It always feels just a little easier to manage. But tomorrow never actually arrives. Relying on tomorrow is exactly how months quietly turn into years, and years turn into completely unfulfilled potential.
So how do we defeat the illusion of tomorrow? You have to totally strip away that paralyzing need for perfection. You don't wait for the stars to perfectly align. First, you just start today. Second, you start scared. Feeling fear is completely natural, you just can't let it freeze you in your tracks. Third, you start imperfectly, fully accepting that you are not going to have all the answers right out of the gate. And fourth, you start with exactly what you have right now, right in front of you. That is the true blueprint for building momentum.
Here is a truly fascinating reality about human psychology. We often trick ourselves into thinking we need to feel confident before we can take action, but it's actually the exact opposite. Action is the engine that creates confidence. When you take a step, even a tiny one, your brain registers that forward motion and actually rewards you with a dopamine hit, which then builds your momentum. Action isn't the result of confidence, it's the generator of it, and ultimately that generated momentum is the only thing that actually changes lives.
So we've talked about abandoning all those comfortable excuses. We've talked about accepting the inherent unfairness of life as your new advantage, and we've talked about starting imperfectly today. The blueprint for self-reliance is completely clear now. The information is right there in your hands, the clock is definitely ticking, and the choice of what to do next is entirely up to you. So, are you ready to take the first step? Think deeply about that one. Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me today.